would want me working on 96 FM or the Neil Prendeville show as an alcoholic? That was my thinking.
Yeah.
They'd sack me. They wouldn't want an alcoholic working with them. Oh God, no. A recovering alcoholic.
Yes.
Jesus, they couldn't also. Anytime it was like, why don't you drink, Brenda? I just couldn't be bothered. Like, I just don't. My
Okay.
dad doesn't drink. My brother doesn't drink. We're not really big drinkers. Little do they know I drank too much.
I drank for all of them. It's one,
So,
yeah.
like, but whenever I said it, I was like, they know something. They know something.
Hello and welcome to Bebel Podcast. When I say I could listen to this woman for hours, I really could. It's an amazing story. It's an amazing story of resilience. We had a little joke afterwards because I said to her, do you believe in manifestation? Because if there's a story of manifestation, it's this one. This is a story of resilience. I love the fact that she owns every single piece of it. She explained it in such a way as well that it made sense to someone that's never been in that situation. And sometimes it's hard to resonate with people that are in different circumstances yourself, but she gets it. What an amazing girl, what an amazing family, what a fantastic support she has had, and what a beautiful way she is now using all of the information and all the people that she met along her way and on her journey to help other people. And I can't wait to see what comes next. I found it really hard actually not to get emotional with her because she made me really, really happy. Let me introduce you to Brenda Dennehy. Brenda, welcome.
Delighted to be here at long last.
I know, I was going to say, we've spoken about this for such a long time, but you're busy, girl.
Like yourself.
Well, I know, but it's so nice that we actually got time to actually meet and to do this because I've been waiting a long time. I love, I know so much of your story, but what I always find when I'm interviewing people on Bebel, they're all busy, they all work for themselves, etc. But there's a reason that always comes about. So where did it all begin for you?
Well, I'm from a little village, Ballydesmond, Cork, Kerry border. I'll throw in the all Kerry because my mother's half Kerry. Little village, and I suppose less than 1,000 people. Went to school not so far away, little national school up the road, and then my secondary school was in Boherwee Comprehensive. And then I went to Tralee actually in Kerry.
Yeah.
First
I'm going to take you
school.
back.
Yeah.
Because you're moving very quick, but that's the kind of woman that you are. I watch you all the time. But like as a kid, I suppose, going to school, like that's a small community. So how many people would be in your school? And did you have any siblings that you went to school with?
Yeah, so I have 3 siblings.
Amazing.
I am the youngest. I have a sister, Julie, 2 brothers that people don't even know exist, Niall and Donal, and we all get on so well.
And where do the boys land? Are they the top?
So there's 5 years between.
There's 5 years between the first and the last one.
Yeah, 5 years.
My God. I mean, I've heard of Irish twins. So you're Irish quadruplets.
Yeah, I suppose.
You really are. I mean, that's such a tight, because like I've one of 5 girls, but there's 20 years between the oldest and the youngest.
Oh, wow.
I know, it's amazing.
It's mad. And then my mom, self-employed, my dad, they own a motor factors. It's still up and running.
Yeah.
My dad since passed away in 2024, but my mom and brother now run it together. And my mom, like, will say, I mean, when you're self-employed, the maternity, you've very little time to take off. So I can't exactly remember when, but like she went back to work pretty soon after having all of the children. And
that must have been amazing though, to watch her, that working. Like I always say, a lot of people were latchkey kids sort of in that era. A lot of people were, parents were out at work. And my parents worked for themselves as well. So they were always really busy, but we always had them around.
Oh yeah, I have no bad memories of my mum and dad. I've only the most gorgeous memories. When my dad died, I was just thinking, oh my God, isn't it wonderful? Who can say that they've only good memories of their parents? And I'm like best friends with my mother. I'm back home living with her now after 4 years in London, which we'll get to later on. But she's an amazing woman. And I always say like I would choose the family I have in any lifetime.
Yeah, isn't that lovely?
Mad about them. Yeah, great
touch
friends.
wood, I'm the same, touch wood. But yeah, so growing up, really close siblings, what took your gra? Like, were you sporty? Were you academic? Like, did you enjoy school?
I loved national school, but then secondary school, I don't know why I didn't like it.
Okay.
I didn't like the school I was in. It was nothing to do with the people or anything, because I always had friends.
Yeah.
But I don't know what it was, what kind of phase I was going through. I just didn't like it. I like national school, like I suppose was I sporty? I would have played GAA.
Yeah.
And I actually was really good at GAA, but I gave it up in secondary school because so silly, like politics at my age. We were joining with another team, Ballydesmond was joining me in another team, and I was like, that's not Ballydesmond anymore. Like, I'm not going to be part of this. And the sad thing is, I was a really good footballer, and my dad was an excellent footballer. And I often think, oh my God, could I played for Cork? But I don't live in regret.
Yes.
But I'm actually going back, and last year actually I went back playing football over in London.
Amazing.
And it's one of the first things I did when I moved to London 4 years ago, and I'm going joining Gaelic for mums and others.
Yeah.
So I'm going doing that again soon once they start up. So
They are really popular, aren't they?
amazing, the great crack as well. Look at the likes of Maeve Dennehy. She went off to New York there not so long ago.
I think it's a great idea.
I want to be part of that again.
Yeah.
So I love that, and I suppose I was sporty in a way. Like I was active. I tried a bit of running and all that kind of stuff. But there was something about secretary school. I don't think I fit in. I don't know what it was. It was a small bit of. I remember not bullying nasty, but I remember like we'll say stuff would have been written on the table, like you know they write your name on the table.
Yeah.
And I remember like stuff like, oh, is fat, you know, Brenda was here, like, you know, is fat. I was actually never fat in those teenage years, but that would cement something in my mind with a bit of, you know, always having probably later years having issues with my body image.
Yes. Well, words are super powerful, and we unfortunately children are bitches, aren't they? Like they just we don't realise when we're kids. Don't realise when we're kids, but you've got to watch that tongue. But so did you have any idea when you were leaving school, you're thinking about college, like what do you want to be?
Well, unfortunately, when the Twin Towers, September 11th, it was an awful catastrophic event, but I got hooked on the news then.
Okay.
And I would always been an early riser, and I would have had OCD tendencies growing up. I would have been like writing a timetable for myself as a young girl, like get up at 7 o'clock, 7:05, get dressed, 7:10, go downstairs, eat breakfast, 7:15, clean up. This was kind of a thing.
Okay.
And then I even got into that, whereas I'd have to watch BBC first, then I'd have to watch Sky News, and then I'd have to watch All American News, and this pattern of getting up this early in the morning. And I got hooked on the news, and I was like, okay, I want to be a journalist, or I want to work in television, and I want to work on Sky News. And I suppose this is what, 15, 16 years of age, and that was it. I want to be a journalist, I want to be presenter, I want to work in television, radio. That was it from then on.
Completely blinkered
To getting totally upset. Like none of my friends were watching the news at that age.
Yes.
You know, they were watching, I suppose, Big Brother back then.
Yeah.
But like I was hooked on the news.
And so did you not have any idea of how you were going to get there?
No idea. No idea. At the time, I would have maybe been writing to the Cork Man newspaper.
Yes.
The Examiner, like, was probably still in school looking for work experience. And I suppose in hindsight, you can't just take someone in off the street, like, as in, oh, I'm going in there working for the day. You know, you come on over here. But actually, the editor of the Irish Examiner at the time, the Cork Examiner maybe, was actually from Ballydesmond.
Okay.
And I never had met him, but I knew his family, and I thought, oh, this will be a shoe-in now. But he's actually a really nice one. I think he actually wrote back to me. But obviously, it's like, you want this teenager coming in, doing what?
Yes.
Like, what was I going to do? I wasn't the one, what's your one off Superman?
Oh,
Lois Lane.
Lois Lane.
I mean, I probably thought I was Lois Lane, but I knew it was always going to happen. I was like, this is going to happen, and I know I'm going to work in Sky News, I'm going to work in BBC. I know this is going to happen for me. I knew it intuitively. I knew it.
But did you, so when you were thinking, I'm going to go and work for them, was there any qualifications that you needed to get?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Obviously, I was never that academic.
Okay.
And at the time, journalism was like 550 points, 500 pounds. I was like, no, not able. Like, I'm not even going to try. I suppose when I look back, could I have had that academic ability to have gotten 500 points if I totally gave up everything else? But
Yes.
I don't know, I just was like, you know what, I'll settle to do arts, which arts is an amazing thing.
Yeah.
And it's a brilliant gateway. So I did liberal arts in Mary Immaculate College in Limerick, which had media in it. So I studied media and history. And then for my Erasmus year, I went off to the University of Glamorgan in Wales, and I got a degree in, an additional degree in journalism, media and communications.
And where's the University of Glamorgan?
It's just outside Cardiff.
Okay. So I'm obviously from Swansea, and my family all live
Yeah.
in Cardiff. That's amazing. Did you enjoy Cardiff? Well, Cardiff was very different in those days.
Yeah, we're
bit
talking
rough.
nearly. Well, this is the thing, right? So I thought I was going to Cardiff, but I was actually in Pontypridd,
Okay.
Treforest.
Yes, very different.
Very different.
Yes.
But I'm from a little village anyway.
Yes.
So the campus was like 20 minutes from actually Cardiff. And I actually went back there, I think was it like October, November, just to see the campus. I went for a night away to Cardiff from London, and I was walking around, and I had such good memories. I did enjoy it. I was very focused on getting, I
Head
went,
down.
like all my friends went to America, San Francisco on their Erasmus year, had a great time drinking this. And I was able to drink and stuff at the time and having a great, but I was like, no, I need to get this media degree. So I got my media degree and I said, look, I'll come back and in 4 years of college, I'll have 2 degrees, whereas everyone else might just have 1.
Yes.
So I was like, I need this media and journalism degree and this will be my gateway in. So that's what I got then.
Amazing. And so when you returned, like I always say this, sometimes we need to leave to return.
Yeah.
Did you return with a different confidence, ready to go?
Well, for me then, I finished off, I had 1 more year to do then in Mary I, but my drinking then started to creep in a bit.
Okay. And can you remember the day it started to creep in? Is there a reason? Is there a trigger that happened?
I suppose for me, Shan, when I ever took my first drink, like the thing about me is I never wanted to actually drink. I wanted to be a pioneer.
Okay.
But long story short, at a wedding with an ex-boyfriend, he actually slipped a vodka into my Diet Coke. I didn't know what was wrong with it. I thought it was gone off. It tasted funny, but within minutes he told me, laughed, just saying, oh, there's a vodka in that. Now, I was alarmed at the moment, but then the effect of it started to set in and instantly I loved the feeling of it because this probably socially anxious girl that I was growing up, even though like loved the laugh and everybody social occasions, like I wasn't great at them. I could feel it lifting and
relaxing, massive relaxing. Yeah.
And I ordered another one. Now the drinking I would have been able to go out in Killarney with my friends, going on nights out, having the crack, not wanting to drink the next day. Went to university, was going out the Tuesday night, still going into college the next day. But I think when I graduated in 2008, it was the big, massive economic crash.
Yes.
And I genuinely thought, okay, I have 2 media degrees, so like Joe Duffy's going to come ringing me. Liveline are going to be on to me, like Ryan Tubridy. But no one was. I didn't realise the concept of how difficult it was to get a job in media. So I got a massive downer.
Yeah.
I don't want to use the word depression because I was never officially diagnosed with depression and I'm sensitive about using that word, but very, very down, very flat, anxious.
Something was wrong.
Something was really, really wrong. But at the time then you're talking, there's no kind of social media. There was a bit of Facebook. So like I knew no one who was wanting a drink the next day or had these delirium tremors or had the shakes. I knew no one. I thought I was the only person in the world with that. So I think when I realised I wasn't going to just walk into RT or News Talk, I was doing the odd job. We'll say I was like working in call centres back home. And while I enjoyed it to somewhat, I was just like, look, I'm just going to settle for this because I think I got a bit resentful of the world that I had done this study and why was it so hard for me? And then a lot of my friends had gone to Mary I and they were teachers or they'd gone straight into jobs and they had like boyfriends and long-term relationships. And to be honest with you, I just felt very, I suppose, maybe envious that why me? I had why me syndrome. And like I was seeing all my friends getting on in life and there I felt like the loser.
Yeah.
I was the loser out of the
kind of
girls.
like why not me?
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. Why them? Why not me? And you had picked a difficult path. These kind of jobs, especially at that time, were really hard to come by because, it's in the midst of recession. But for me, like when you say things like you didn't know anybody that had tremors and stuff, I don't really I've never been in that situation. Is that because of the amount of alcohol that you drink that you tremored the next day, or like?
Yeah, like for some reason, like it wouldn't have been like my drink of choice wasn't like whiskey or anything. It was like Bulmers, like cider. Okay. That was the thing I did.
Yes.
I like.
And funny enough, Brenda, so I grew up in pubs. And when I was a kid, my dad, people would come to our house, 14, 15, whatever. They'd be like, well, you can have a little taste of lager at Sean's house sort of thing. Actually, we were younger than that, but at that time, like 15, you're up, naggins up the field. But my dad always said, you can try anything, girls. You can try anything, but nothing off the top shelf, so no spirits. And if I ever catch you drinking cider, I will kill you. And he caught me once when I was about 14 or 15, drinking out of a cider bottle up the fields, and he dragged me home. And I still, to the day, at 54, can't drink cider.
Because of that?
Oh, the guilt. But he would say that it killed more brain cells than any other alcoholic beverage. He'd be obsessed with the cider situation. So it's funny, like, in the summer, my friends all drink Bulmers, and I'm like, oh, and I still can't. I can't look at it. I can't drink it. So something that was, instilled in me such a young age.
Yeah.
So, but the shake thing. So, was it consumption? Was it?
I would say it might be. Yeah, a lot of it would be consumption for a couple of days. You
like
might
the fear.
The fear. Oh, the fear. And like you're talking now, like the off license opens at 10:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
That was like an eternity at times. And then 12:30 on a Sunday. Oh, and you'd be in the off license wanting to get the can just to stop the shakes or just to get rid of the fear, just to feel normal. And it would always be like, I'll only have the one. Some days I might only have time to like, or get away with having like 3 or 4.
Okay.
Now I would have never been drinking on the job or anything like
So you're
that.
functioning,
I was functioning, but
because of it.
yeah, like I didn't know there was what was wrong with me.
Okay.
I didn't know what was wrong with me because you see now on social media, and hands up, I've done it. You see, I'm sober like a year, or I haven't drank in a month, and it's like bravo, like it's amazing. I felt this great a huge embarrassment. I didn't want to tell any of my friends because I thought they'd be embarrassed of me, which total opposite. They would have been helping me when I said it to them after. But I was like, why would they want to be friends with someone like me? Like, this is embarrassing. If it was the other way around as well, back in the day, I would have like that. I would have been comforting them and be the first person to be up their house looking after them. But I felt an awful sense of shame. I just did not know what was wrong with me. It would have been hinted the odd time at me. Because then I brought drink into our family home, drink it up in my bedroom.
Okay.
Which not on because my house was a non-drinking house. Like really, like my friends would have never come over drinking to my house. I'd never come downstairs. My mother and father would have been drinking. Like my father never drank. My older brother doesn't drink. It's not a drinking house. And like wish addiction comes lies. I could have been drinking cans inside my room. They could smell the drink. Might hide the cans. Were you drinking? Oh no, I swear to God I wasn't. You know, you're hiding.
You're hiding.
Yeah,
it's your secret.
Yeah, it's a big, massive lie. And you're lying to yourself, but you're nearly convincing yourself and you think you're getting away with it.
Yeah. No, I completely get it. And so from a non-drinker, because quite often, you know, alcoholism or drinking, it is hereditary. There is a gene. So, you weren't getting it from elsewhere. Your parents weren't drinking. Do you know what I mean? Did it skip a generation? Do you feel like... it was created, I suppose. How did you ever see a light at that point at the end of the tunnel?
Well, for me, I think, I look back now and I know ADHD is the buzzword, but I've been recently diagnosed with ADHD and I'm looking back on, wow, there's a lot there. But I wouldn't change anything in my life at all. I don't go, oh, what if I had known? No, don't, because I'm very happy with the person I am now. But I would have always had OCD tendencies and to get addicted. I was addicted to Coca-Cola as a child. I'm still addicted to Coca-Cola. Okay. I get addicted to things really easily.
You're all in.
I'm all in. Like, I just can't.
Yeah.
And I suppose getting addicted to the Coca-Cola, and then when I got addicted to cleaning, I would have got addicted maybe to exercise at one stage. There was always something. I'd be saying to myself all the time, why can't I be normal? Yes. Why can't I be normal? And no, I have that. Whereas I don't have to drink Coke every single day. Okay. I don't have to exercise every single day. So there's some normalcy. Thanks be to God.
It's recognising the tendencies, isn't it?
That's it.
I was definitely addicted to Coke, and I gave up Coke when I was 25. And I think I've had like 2 or 3 sips of Coke the rest of my life, or any pop, like, because I couldn't wake up. I couldn't function in the mornings without it. Yeah. That sugar buzz, and. Yeah, that's really interesting. So you're functioning, you're keeping yourself on a level. So you're not walking around drunk.
No, I wouldn't have been walking around the town drunk, and I wouldn't have been going into the local pubs or...
But I think that's a really important message, because a lot of people don't realise that people need help. And that functioning piece is, it's taking a sip of a drink to keep yourself going.
Keep going.
But it's constant.
Now, there would have been nights in later years where I was probably out in Cork.
Yes.
An absolute state.
Oh,
like I remember like people having to take me home in taxis, and the shame then when they'd remind you in later years, you're like, oh my good God, you know, and like there would have been stages like that where it wasn't good. But I remember there was an incident at the Cork All-Ireland 2010. Cork were playing against Down. Cork hadn't played in the All-Ireland in years. I'm an absolute holy show myself. My mother had told me up in the All-Ireland. I can't even remember them winning the game, but it would have been hinted the odd time to me by my parents, do you need help? But I would have been very hesitant and, kind of would have pushed them away. But it was like an intervention. Something happened to me that night on the way down from Dublin back home that I needed help, and I asked my mother for help. And the next day she rang Cunbera Brewery, and I was in treatment within a week. And I was only 25.
That's
so
amazing.
Still very young.
Yes.
And I did 3 good months there. I spent Christmas in there, spent New Year's in there. We had a tight schedule where you're up every single day at 6 a.m. and you're around people every day, and there's no getting away from anyone. And I met people who I'd never met in any walk of life, the best thing ever. Like I suppose I was sheltered coming from a little village where
Yes.
I hadn't known anyone who had taken drugs. I had met women who were sex workers. I had met women who'd been in jail, prison. I had met women who'd so many crimes, but we were all as one. And
Yeah.
no one judged anyone. And it was the biggest learning curve ever because we had the one thing in common, which was addiction. And I suppose, not that I would judge before, but, you know, like even now, anyone who might have come on my podcast or anyone who, when I was working in Red
Yeah.
FM, you know, if they had a criminal conviction or they, you know, had a past, I'd never judge anymore.
No.
I think when you're younger, like, oh my God, like, you know, if someone had told me back when I was 15, 16, you're going to end up in rehab with all these kind of people from all walks of life. You know, I think it really opened up my eyes to everything and being more open to people.
But we're all human.
Exactly. And, you know, everyone is trying to get on in this world. And I, like, to be honest with you, Shan, anytime I pass anyone on the street who's homeless, I'm not joking, I always say, that could be you.
Yeah.
That could be you.
Could be any of us.
Any of us.
Really could be.
And I always say, I'm one of the lucky ones.
Yeah.
I'm one of the lucky ones. Every time I see it, I never take it for granted.
Yeah.
But then in later years after that, I had 8 great years. And then I got into radio then after that.
Yes.
So
And that's where I first came across you.
Yes,
Yeah.
you were. Deirdre O'Shaughnessy.
Yes.
Fantastic Deirdre. I remember her getting you on 96 FM
Yeah.
on the opinion line with PJ.
She's fab, yeah.
Yeah, she's amazing. That's when I first met you. And I know we're chatting about me today, but your own story, my God,
Yeah.
what an amazing person you are and resilient. And
But that's the thing, you know, where you're talking about going in and meeting all those people. When I first shared my story, I wasn't alone anymore.
yeah,
So although I was sharing it and it helped other people and vice versa with your story, now you'll talk today. And it's always cathartic, I think, to get these things out. But you help other people, but you know as well that there's so many other people that are going through exactly the same thing as you. Because we can get all bemused by the shiny.
yeah.
And nothing's shiny in life, really.
No, it's not.
But we can help and support each other and it becomes much more shinier.
And did you know what? There's a great saying, like, you have to give it away to keep it.
Yeah. Oh, I completely believe that. All
And
about the
it's
give.
So true. And you might just hear someone like one line they say, and that could instill something in you and change your life. And I'm a big believer in that. And how I got into radio that time, again, nothing's ever easy coming
Yes.
to me. Nothing I do is easy. Like everything is the graft and the hard work to get into it. But how I did that when I got out of treatment in 2010, I remember I didn't know what to do with myself because I still didn't have the confidence to go into radio.
Okay.
But I didn't. My dad suggested, would you go off and do a higher diploma and be a teacher? And I think just to keep people happy, I was like, all right, so I will. So I went back to UCC to do geography. So I would have been a geography and history teacher. And I was just about to do my exams and I went on a hen night out in Kilkenny for my friend Anne's wedding. And I remember I left the nightclub early just to go and get some chips. And I met these 2 men on the street and I started doing like pretend interviews with people on the street in Kilkenny having the crack. And they were recording me and like it wasn't, you were uploading nothing on Facebook or anything. But I remember we were having such a laugh and they were like, you sober? And I was like, why? I don't drink anymore. And they were like, God, you're comical. You should be on television. You should be working on radio. Like, and they're like, what are you doing? I goes, oh, I'm training to be a teacher. They were like, no, that's not for you. You should be doing. And something that night, I have all these like defining moments straight away. I remember telling my sister Julie, because she was on the night, because Julie have to do the radio thing. These men here, like they're after filming me. I'm after watching it back, and I'm like, it's meant for me. My sister was like, go and get it, do it. Rang the mother and the father the next day on the way down in the bus, and I was like, I have to go and do it. Like I'll finish off my exams in UCC. And I have to just do something in the summer and try and get the radio job. And my mom and dad said, whatever you need to do, we'll support you. We'll be there for you. So I remember I went up to Life FM in the summer, which is a Christian-based station. Yes. And I went in and I just begged them for work experience. I learned how to edit. I was presenting the news, doing my own thing. Like I got to,
it all starts with the news, guys. It always starts with the news.
And I was doing all sorts in there, but they gave me the tools.
Amazing.
Inside there. And then I was applying to, I only actually found my old audition CD. That's how old this is now, last week. And I sent the audition to every single radio station in Ireland and everyone rejected me. But I kept at it and I got a small bit of work experience in 98 FM and News Talk. It was like 2 weeks. And then I got on like something with Brenda Dennehy, on RT. But then I got 1 day's work experience up in 96 FM.
Yeah.
It was a rainy day like today. And Neil Prendeville was presenting at the time because he was still in 96 FM. And they were doing something on Roy Keane.
Okay.
And Vox Pops, really hard to do, especially in a rainy day. And I had just walked in, Emer was there and Colin Moore was there. And of course, they probably look back kind of go, oh, hi, how are you? You were here for work experience. And I was like, yeah. And obviously, as work experience, you're just sitting there,
Yes.
you know. But I said, oh, will I
Paper
go down?
clips.
Yeah, will I go downtown and do a Vox Pop there? I'm right keen for Neil. And they're like, what? And I was like, will I go down? They're like, do you know how to edit? I was like, yeah, no problem. Have you got the recorder there and I'll head down? So I'd say they were like aghast. What is this?
Who's this
one
one?
here?
Yeah.
Ran down, went into Merchant's Quay. So there's no one on the street. And I remember like begging people, look, will you talk and give me your view on Roy Keane? It was a new book or something.
Yes.
Please, I'm begging you. I nearly had them up.
This is my job, please.
But they
Hang
all
off the
did,
legs.
right? Ran up, straight back up Patrick's Hill, went in, edited it. I'd say it was around 11:45. Show finishes at 12. They played it out on air. Neil came out kind of go, who did that? And they're like, oh, this is Brenda. She's in for work experience. I remember Neil saying, I liked a bit of that. I want more of that. Finished that day. Colin ran down after me when I was going downstairs. And he said, listen, Emer's away on holidays next week. Do you mind coming in and do a bit of cover? And I was kind of like, yeah, no problem. I was like, that's grand, yeah. But I was like, I never forget it. Screaming inside, getting the Nokia 8210 ringing my mother, like, oh my God. Then obviously Neil moved to Red FM months later. And then I got the main gig with Deirdre and PJ.
Amazing.
And I had the best, like, I think it's like 4 or 5 years with them. And my God, like, that was amazing. And then I moved to Red FM. Then after those couple of years, but in between this, again, the social anxiety and everything, things were getting a bit hard. And I'll be very honest with you, Shan, my ego probably got the better of me. Okay. My ego was my greatest downfall because in this time as well, Snapchat was coming on and again, Instagram was coming on and I built up a bit of a Snapchat profile. And look, usually I was getting up to all sorts. I still do on my Instagram from time to time. I like a bit of humour. I love the crack.
Oh, you got to have the crack.
And I was emceeing events and I do think my ego probably got the better of me. And then I was kind of pushing myself too much that I felt like I needed something. I was craving something. I knew I couldn't drink. I was actually giving up the cigarettes as well at the same time. And I needed something. And hands up, I manipulated my doctor. He didn't know of my own addiction history. And the thing was at the time, I hadn't even opened up to Deirdre or PJ or anyone. No one really in my professional life knew about my addiction.
That funny? You're bringing all these people in talking about these amazing subjects.
Yeah.
But you can't open up to them.
Yeah.
Because we're worried about what people think in our professional.
But who'd want me working on 96 FM or the Neil Prendeville show as an alcoholic? That was my thinking.
Yeah.
They'd sack me. They wouldn't want an alcoholic working with them. Oh God, no. A recovering alcoholic.
Yes.
Jesus. They couldn't also anytime it was like, why don't you drink, Brenda? I just couldn't be bothered. Like, I just don't. My dad doesn't drink. My brother doesn't drink. We're not really big drinkers. Little do they know I drank too much.
I drank for all of them. It's
but whenever I said it, I was like, they know something. They know something. Yeah. And I admit it, I manipulated my doctor and I told him I was really anxious and he gave me Xanax.
Okay. This episode is brought to you by Skin Formulas, an Irish skincare brand created by skin experts and trusted by thousands of customers and skin clinics. Built on science, results, and a deep understanding for skin health, Skin Formulas is designed to help you feel confident in your skin. If you want to know more, then go to www.skinformulas.ie. Did you know about Xanax? Because I don't. I don't. Well, I'd say I don't know what Xanax does.
Relaxes you and it's highly addictive. It's a relaxer like Valium.
Okay, I know a couple of friends of mine would say, they're scared of flying and they might go take a Xanax before you get in the flight.
Oh, it takes it away. It takes that edge off. It would have done for me, that first drink that took the edge off of something, the Xanax did for me. And I just said to myself, look, I'll be careful with these. I'll only take the one. And I never forget, I got the script and I remember going into the chemist and like the excitement, getting the high, getting the prescription and getting the sleeve of tablets. And I remember taking the one and it was like that first drink.
Okay.
Back when I was 19, it was like, oh my gosh. And then I was just started to abuse them. And then I remember going to a house party one night and this is where the ego is. People were inviting me because I was Brenda's bits. And I thought no one, I see this thing was in my head then. if I was down or a flat day, I would be nearly afraid to go to work because I'd be like, God, people only like me because of the lively Brenda, the happy Brenda, the good crack Brenda. So it was like the mask. And we're all wearing a mask. We're all performing every day. But I was like, sure, no one will like me if I'm sad or drunk. Because it was like, I couldn't leave anyone know that there was that other side of me, which is the complete opposite. But I remember going to a house party and I was like, sure, they won't want you there if you're no crack, like, because you're going as Brenda's bits.
Yeah.
You have to be like this character, whatever. Yeah. So I remember going over and there was so much pressure going on in my head. I shouldn't have just gone. I should have just not gone. I'd no Xanax at the time. And what did I do? Took a drink. And before I knew it, I had a cigarette in my hand. Before I knew it, was on a secret garden inside in Rairdens, having a ball. And it was like, oh my God. And I remember even meeting people go, I thought you never knew you drank. I was like, just having the one. And I said, I'll get away with this now for a while. And then what happened was I started mixing the Xanax with alcohol.
Okay.
Bang, worst combination ever. And again, I would have never gone into work drunk or anything like that, but I would have gone into drink after abusing the Xanax, or would have got into work after abusing the Xanax. Absolutely. Okay. No problem. And then you might mix that with something else, not anything illegal or anything, but you might have been getting medication that you didn't know where it came from, that a friend of a friend might have had it.
Okay.
We say on the street ones, Xanax, but you don't even know what's inside in them.
Stuff like that.
Well, the ones, it would have been the street ones, like we'll say the Xanax on the street that a doctor wasn't giving you because you're that desperate, and you might mix them. And look, to be honest with you, there's times I look back, you think you're all right in your head, you're out of it. Yeah. You're out of it. And I would have went to work and not really present. I was messing up an awful lot, hands up, I was messing up. But no one was kind of calling me aside, really kind of giving me any formal warnings. Like, it would have been like, are you all right, Brenda? And of course, you're like, geez, I'm fine. You get defensive then. But I had one or two major incidents where like, this is really bad. So like there was one event where there was over 600 people at it for the Rainbow Club. And like, I always feel so terrible even looking back on it. But the organisers have been since very forgiving. I remember having drank and mixed the medication on the day. Again, Shan, every time, look, I'll be careful, I'll manage it. Yes. But I got so drunk at the event, slurring my words. I was a judge, but it was one of those kind of Oscar nights. And it was an absolute disgrace. And I had to be escorted out of the place in front of the 600 people. So it was really bad, And
oh, bless you.
It was, look, I'm not looking for any pity on that because that was terrible.
At the same time, if I escorted you out, I'd be wanting to follow up on that and see.
No, they did, but on the other side of it as well, there was a lot of abuse the next day. What a disgrace I was, and I let them down, and this and the barrage of abuse then led me, and I'm not looking for pity on this at all, this is just part of the story. No. Led me to, couldn't go into work then on the Monday, that was a Saturday. The Sunday I just spent the whole day drinking and the abuse was coming in, so I had to drink more. Woke up on the Monday, could not go into work, so I decided to go off, get a nagging of vodka. And look, I'll just drink that now and again everything will be okay, and took a few tablets. And the next day I woke up in the critical department unit in CUH, so I was after overdosing.
So were you in your mum's house?
This was in my friend's house in Frankfield when my mother found me, because my mother knew there was something up. But this is the thing, it was total accidental because I never wanted to end anything. But I woke up in the CUH, CDU, and my brother and mother were looking over me, and I had no idea how I got there.
Okay.
And I think the worst part of that was I was waiting for them to actually give out to me. But the concern on their face, I remember my sister ringing from Abu Dhabi, like really upset for me. My dad ringing me upset for me. But I was waiting for them all to be shouting and roaring at me. Yeah. But I couldn't get my head around it. But obviously they thought, she wanted to finish it.
Okay.
But I was trying to convince them that I didn't want to finish it.
Yes.
Then I got another chance at work after that. And I was doing well for a couple of months, and then I was moving house and I found a sleeve of old Xanax, and before I knew it I was back on them, and that pattern persisted. And then March 2019, I think it was like the 11th, 12th to March 2019, I fell asleep on the job at work. Not good when you're a radio producer and a phone in talk show.
Live. Oh my God.
That's what I stayed for a few minutes. What? But I could laugh. No. Yeah. And then that was the day I lost my job.
Oh, bless.
Yeah. And then I was like, oh my God, I was like, no way. Like, oh my God, I won't do it again. But then the thing that was, my God, that's my identity. My job's my identity. Yeah. This is the worst thing in the world. Oh my God. So I remember going home and just, again, consuming a load of medication and just didn't want to wake up. Didn't want to
deal with it.
Just didn't want to wake up.
Yeah.
Lied for a couple of days. My mom and dad, and actually one of the people inside Reddit FM ended up telling my mother what had happened because they were actually very concerned for me. I found out that, then lost the plot, as in like, that's GDPR and how did they do that, and I'm fine. But I was this is Brenda, you're in the pits now. And within a couple of hours later, I got in touch with the old treatment centre I was in, and I was back in treatment on the 19th of March 2019.
Good for you.
And I did another 3 months, and I was in there for my birthday. And within that was much harder, because I said to you about delirium tremors and the alcohol. The shakes coming off the tablets, I will never go through anything like it in my life. I actually was like, you've nerve damage done. This is not normal. We really have to messing yourself up here now. Like, this is permanent damage. But things were so bleak, and the downer, it was, I actually remember writing down in my journal, I don't think I'll ever laugh again. I'll never smile again. I'll never be Brenda again. But within like 6 weeks, I remember I saw a light bulb moment. Again, another intervention moment. And I remember it was the first time, like, I think all the medication was out of my system, because I had to go on a small bit of medication to wean me off the medication.
Yes.
But it was like this moment of clarity. And I never forget writing in the journal again. I was like, I had this belief, and I remember writing down, you'll make the mother of all comebacks. And I wrote the same thing to my mother. I promise you I'll make the mother of all comebacks. And from that day on, I was going all hell for leather. And I came out of there in June 2019. And again, I thought the whole of Cork hated me. They're all talking about me, what a disgrace I was. But again,
the whole of Cork is far too busy worrying about themselves.
Doesn't matter. Nobody cares what you, Brenda.
Yeah.
Got in touch with, I had written to Neil Prindeville, Emer, PG Cool, all these people that I was like, I'm after really hurting. My doctor, I apologise for manipulating him when I was in treatment, making amends. And I remember meeting up with everyone I got out, and everyone was kind of like, oh my God, Brenda, we're so worried about you. We're glad you're okay. Like, the first round of rehab was, if I had done what I had done then, because my friends would have, been the exact same. And luckily enough, Paula Linehan from RSVP Online, she ended up saying, look, do you want to write a few articles for me? Because I had no job, no nothing. And I thought I was done in the media world. And I was like, oh, sure, I can't even write, Paula. She goes, look, give it a chance there. There's a woman there, you can interview her. And I never forget it. I wrote it. Obviously, she edited a bit. And I had my first article up online by a couple, I think it was like 2 or 3 weeks when I was out of treatment. And I held at that. She gave me a chance, and then she gave me a role in the Sunday Mirror, and I was getting front page stories. Neil would ring me from time to time. Can I get that number of that person you have on the front page? And then November, Neil rang me. I remember being in Abu Dhabi with my mum and sister, and he said, look, I'd like to offer you a job back. Yeah. So I was back inside in Red FM then. I was given the sack and back in my job within 9 months.
Amazing.
And then the pandemic happened.
Yes.
Which we all know
Yeah.
was hell. But it was actually the best thing that ever happened to me, because the pressure that was on everyone, and especially radio, and I know people in hospitals and medical, and everyone had it way worse than myself, but there was a lot of pressure at the time, and I was like, this will either make me or break me. And it made me. And I remember that time as well, I got into running. I was never really big into exercise, but the AA meeting stopped in person, and I needed some sort of a release. You could do them online, but I much prefer in person. And I said, look, I was living in Ballincollig at the time, so I went running in the regional park. And I kind of was like, oh my God, I never knew people were going exercising for the release.
Yes.
Yeah, I didn't know.
It's like
the Pilates as well. I didn't know this. I remember ringing my mother, I go, hi, come here, I feel great. Like, I didn't know this.
Yes.
And then I got really into it. And then I said, you know what, I'm going to do a marathon. I'm going to run the London Marathon. And I had no entry or anything, but I was like, I'm going to run. And I remember running around Ballincollig, and I was pretending I was in London, Buckingham Palace and everything, visualising it. And then I got so into it. And then I was like, oh my God, I'm actually going to move to London, and I'm going to work in television, and I'm going to go for it. Then there was that thing. And then I remember ringing my mother at the same time, like this back like years ago, when I was like, I'm going to, after graduating from doing my HDip, I was like, I'm going to move home to Ballydesmond, and I'm going to save, and I'm going to be working in television, working in media in London within 6 months. She goes, whatever you need to do, we'll be there for you. And then I moved home in 2021, the summer of 2021, and I ended up in London then working with the Mail Online in January 2022. So within 6 months I was over in London. Now, my main idea was to get into Sky News and get into television, but I needed, again,
stepping stones.
Shan, nothing comes in like easy for me. I was like, look, I don't even really, writing is not my passion, but look, who doesn't know the Mail Online? I was showbiz.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, I was like, who doesn't? This is a great stepping stone. The whole world knows the Mail Online.
It's my Dublin Girls WhatsApp group, first thing 9 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, and then within a couple of months, I got to know people, and I got names of people, and I ended up getting freelance work inside Sky News. So I was double jobbing with the Mail Online and Sky News. And I always wanted to work in Good Morning Britain. That was always my dream. I used to be emailing the editor of Good Morning Britain, Neil was his name, Neil Thompson, years ago. Like I was still working 96 FM and I was kind of like, can I come off for work experience, please, Neil? And he used to always email back kind of going, we can't really take anyone on like that because the channels to go through work experience in a big organisation. But I thought I'd just walk in and be sitting with Neil up at his desk. And so far after Sky News, I got into BBC. I got on Vanessa Feltz's show working there, but there was always Good Morning Britain. And I'm always a big believer, like, whenever you get a no, you're closer to the yes. And I was just going to be one
Trust
person.
the no's, I always say,
That's it. One person to change my life. That's all it took. Neil Prendeville that time back in 2013 changed my life. I was like, it's going to be one person. I met a girl that I was working with on Vanessa Feltz's show. She said, get on to this lady, Verena Burt, send her your CV. Sent her my CV. She called me the next day and she goes, okay, I'll give you 1 day's trial. You can come in January. So that was January 2023. I'd only been in London a year. I went in and hit the ground running. They needed a really random vet it was something to do with pugs because of the way they breathe.
Yes.
And it was the most random request ever. And I think they were nearly doing it on purpose. So they'd get rid of me in a way that this freelancer would be. But I ended up finding a vet. And wasn't he an Irish vet from Cork, living in London? Got him on the show and they were blown away. And they were like, okay, you can come back tomorrow. And then I ended up actually getting a contract with Good Morning Britain, my dream job. And even Neil, the editor, I remember meeting him come down the hall and thinking this man won't, like, he'll have no interest talking to me, but very hands-on. One of the girls, I'm Brina, who brought me in that day, was like, oh, Neil, this is actually Brenda. She's coming in freelancing with us. He goes, I remember you emailing me. And I was like, oh my God, I'm actually mortified. And he was like, no, keep it up. You're here now. And great pals with him ever since. And then with all of that, I was doing the podcasting on the side. The podcasting happened throughout and I had a great time doing my first podcast. We had an absolute ball. Some of my best memories doing that podcast. Yeah. But then things evolved and my own podcast, The Comeback with Brenda Dennehy.
Amazing.
Came last May.
Such a great podcast.
And thank you so much.
Oh no, it's brilliant. I absolutely adore it.
Thank you. And I suppose I was like, look, this will get like 500, 600 listens. Yes. But I just couldn't get over the impact in it. I'm still in awe of it. And I'm so grateful for it. I thought, look, I do 5 or 6 episodes and we'll see how we go.
Do you know, I always think, when I think of that pod, I always think real people, real impact. And I think that's where it really stands out. And I think that's its USPs. It is really real stories. Like it's not contrived at all. It's beautiful stories. You take the time to listen to people. And that's the thing, isn't it, with podding? Yeah. Sometimes you go, shut up.
You're listening to me now.
Yeah, and I love it.
Yeah.
Because I'd like you, we're learning every day, aren't we?
Yeah. But you have a great technique about you because I listen to some podcasts and the host
interrupt.
No, they're nearly talking for the whole thing. I'm like, I know about you. I want to listen to them.
Yeah.
I want to listen to them.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's the person telling their story. And like that now, it's real stories. People can identify. It's that one line someone might say. It's that person who might feel alone thinking, oh my God, I thought I was the only one in the world thinking that. And they identify and that's what it's about. Like it's not about me at all. It's about the guests. And for people to open up, like it's such an honour, isn't it? It's such an honour to open up about the most vulnerable. You know yourself, they do it in that podcast.
I absolutely love it. And actually I was doing a retreat recently and the place that I rented for the retreat, at the end she goes, oh my God, was everything okay? I saw a lady get a bit upset. And I said, that's perfection. Yeah. If you make a space so safe for people that they feel that they can release all emotion, that's perfection.
Yeah. That's special.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I love what I do, the same as you.
Yeah.
But and I know like it can take a lot of energy listening to people's stories and everything, and you have to protect yourself as well. But I know now you've brought out another pod.
Yes.
Which helps with that balance, I'm sure.
Oh my God, I miss having the fun one so much because I suppose most of my personality is having the crack and just coming out with silly statements. So myself and Alan Clark, great friends. We met online, like just followed him on Instagram. He followed me. He thought I was like just this crazy one down in Cork. And I was like, who's this mad Mayo man? Yeah. And then we met. He came on a podcast show I was doing. I went on his show. And then I suppose we got chatting and everyone's always like, everyone thinks all the time, oh, you'd be great as a couple. Do you know, oh my God, they want the love story to happen. But actually, we're just very similar when it comes to our humour. He's daft, I'm daft. And then we teamed up and the new podcast is going brilliant. And do you know what? I was editing it yesterday, putting the timestamps together and I was just laughing, Matt. I was like, my God, we suit each other so
you do.
much. Because you know a lot in my life, right? And this might come to relationships. I meet men and sometimes I feel like stupid. They make me feel stupid at times, like, oh, who's this dope here? Like, these men aren't suited to me. But for some of my life, I felt like these men, not even men as such, like people that a statement I might come out with. Like, some of the stuff I was listening to yesterday, I was coming out, I was like, oh my God, there's a lot of men who'd be like, what a dope, but he's just roaring laughing at it.
Yeah.
And the stuff he comes out with, I'm roaring laughing at it. So we're like two peas on a podcast.
I love it. I really like it. It's such a beautiful balance.
Yeah, I love it. I miss the laugh so much.
Do some lives though, if you two going dating together and being each other's wing people. Because,
oh yeah, 100%.
Because he should have to pick your dates and you should pick his.
Yeah,
because I think it'd be hysterical.
Yeah, no, it's a great idea.
And so, what's next for you?
I'm back home now after being in London for 4 years, and a lot of people are like, oh, especially the weather. No, I said, no, I must be allergic to come home. I'm delighted to be home. I'm back home living with my mother and my dog, Winston. My mother looked after the dog while I was away. And what a privilege to be back living with my mother, and so happy to be doing it. I'm my own little quarters, my own little granny flat, but I'm delighted to be there. I'm actually starting a personal training course tonight. Fitness Education Ireland, massive into my fitness. I love it. Brilliant with ideas. My own fitness name is going to be Brinergy Fitness. Give me a bit of Brinergy straight away. I'm like, in my head, give me a bit of Brinergy. I'm thinking about it. Spin with Bryn, my spin class. It's all about energy. And I know a good personal trainer. Look, if you're doing all the same thing, the same lunges, like the same squats, but it's all about the person's energy. And I know I have a good energy and I want to be able to help people do a bit of the life coaching like yourself. So I'm starting that tonight to go for the podcast, really go all in, do a bit of more Instagram work. And I know a lot of people are afraid of the whole influencer term. I am very happy to be called an influencer if it influences someone in the correct way, especially with wellness or like a mental health advocate, or especially with addiction when it comes to that. So like a few gigs here online, but not to have that as my whole thing all the time. I have a couple of events coming up, like emceeing a few events, and I love all that. Doing it stone cold sober rather than going with a load of tablets in May, even though I'm bricking it, but I find all the time.
But it's just courage, isn't it?
That's it. I chat about it and say it out online. Do you know what I actually find as well? And I say this before interviews. I tell the person interviewing me I'm nervous.
Yes.
And even if I'm going up there, I'm seeing something, like I'll even say it to someone beforehand to get it out of my system rather than keeping it inside. So I love all that work. I get really anxious before it. And a lot of people are like, oh, you're well able for that. And I'm like, no, it just doesn't come naturally to me either. But when I'm up there, I love it. Like I did a live show back in November for my own podcast. And look, it was still very early days, but look, it sold out. I was so proud of it all. I put on a great show. I will say that now. And everyone was really happy with it. So I'm going to do my own live show again in March.
Amazing.
And I really need to start getting cracking on that, part of the Cork Podcast Festival. And who knows, myself and Alan might do a show, but there's a lot going on.
For me, with you, it's all energy. So you create energy in a room. If you're doing a live, you will love, I love teaching Pilates. I love the energy in that room. Yesterday, actually, I did an event in Brown Thomas and I was chatting. Brenda Dennehy was there actually from Love Cherish. And I said, we were sat at one end of the restaurant. I said, look down the restaurant. No one had a phone out. Everybody was talking, like it was so loud because everybody was talking, and it's a community piece and making people feel that they belong. And it's so important. Beautiful. And the more people like you, Brenda, we just need more of you. You need to duplicate yourself because we need more of it. And we all do, because we were chatting before we came on actually, and we were talking about loneliness, and every problem stems down to not feeling like you've got someone, or not feeling like you belong, or not feeling, and that's all a feeling of loneliness. And we need to create a non-loneliness army and make sure people are okay.
And you know what, even speaking about not belonging, I'm nervous about my fitness course tonight because I'm going in there having to make new friends again. And I even had this, God, they're all going to be younger than me, and will I be sitting on my own? I even had that. And I know everything will be okay, but that was going through. I had to leave that out in my head this morning. And I'd be saying it to someone else in person. No, I'll have to tell someone else, I'll be the only one there now tonight on my own. And I'll be all on my own, sitting in my corner on my own. Even though, look, I know I won't, but because sometimes I just need to say it out loud. But that's going on in my head now tonight.
But it's so normal. Like, people don't think those thoughts are normal. But like, I actually didn't do a course last weekend because I'm post-surgery and it was an athletic Pilates course. And I didn't book it because I was worried because I wouldn't be able to participate 100%. And then people would think, why isn't she?
Yeah.
And I was like, just don't do it.
Yeah.
And I'm annoyed with myself for doing that to myself, but it was my voice. I didn't catch it in time.
Yeah.
Normally I'm quite good at going, that's not fact.
Yes.
Because for me, it's about fact. Actually, no one in the room would have cared, Sean. They're there to learn themselves. They're not watching what you're learning. They're learning themselves.
Yeah.
Oh, that's the fact.
I always say, you're not that important.
No,
Like, I'm saying
absolutely.
it, Brenda, you're not that important.
Yeah.
Like there's people, like there's so much more going on. When people always say to me, is when I was over in London as well, I don't know how you're out on your phone on the street there chatting on your stories. I always was saying, these people on the tube watching me or on the street, no, they're not even watching me. They're not going to be thinking about me when they're having dinner later on in the evening. They don't care.
Yeah.
Like if I saw some girl go down the street there now doing Instagram stories, do you think I'm going to be thinking about her tonight inside in the class? I'm not. A million other things going on in my head. What is it? 60,000 thoughts a day you have.
Yeah.
I'd say Brenda Dennehy isn't going to be someone else's even one of them. Like it's not. So you're not. I always say to myself, you're not that important.
Yeah.
You're not.
No, we're really not. No
not.
one's watching. No one gives
they
a
don't
shit.
care.
Absolutely.
Don't give a shit.
I think that's a great way to finish, but we can't finish without your question from the last person that was on the pod.
Go for it.
So read it out and you can answer that one for me. Actually, I have to put my glasses on. I can't remember what it was. So the question is, what small thing has brought you unexpected joy lately?
I would say, can I name a person?
Yeah.
There's a man, Liam Wilcox, on my social media that popped up on so-called Blue Monday. And I don't believe in Blue Monday. So that was 2 weeks ago. I was scrolling on my phone and this man, he's down in West Cork. I'm going to have to follow him.
Liam Wilcox.
Yeah. And he's just this man. And he goes around with his little dog, Tommy.
Oh, I saw him on your Instagram.
Yeah. Brought me so much joy. And I'm actually going to meet him next week. I'm
Amazing.
starting up this new series again. People think I'm a right charlatan. But I say things out loud because I do them.
Yeah.
Brenda meets the characters of Ireland and he's number one. And the man brought me such joy. I've been on the phone to him and everything. And the high he gives me, I was nearly crying over him.
Yes.
And do you know what as well? Going down to meet him in West Cork, I even had them in Super Value Bantry on to me last night. The manager going, oh, Liam told us you're coming in next week. Can we do anything for you? And other people skipping, oh, Liam told us you're calling down. You know, this joy, this little joy.
And he's passing it around.
And look the way he goes around with his little dog, Tommy, he loves him so much and he's eating the rancheros in the car.
Amazing.
Joy personified.
We need, and it's about finding those people, isn't it?
Yeah.
But thank you so much for coming
Thank you
today.
too, Shanna. I had an absolute blast.
Oh,
stunning.
Loved it. So thanks for listening. And don't forget, if you enjoyed this pod, then please like and follow. And pop over to YouTube if you want to watch. You can subscribe to my YouTube channel at Sean Horn. And lastly, we have some amazing news. All of the BBell events are now on bbell.ie. So if you want to know more about our monthly events, our meetups, and our amazing, amazing retreat coming this September in Portugal, then do head over to the website and we'll see you there.